And welcome to the NBA Daily for December 23rd, 2025. I'm Dave DuFour here with Es Baraheni. Coming up, the Pelicans are hot. They just won their fifth straight. We're going to talk about that. And Andrew Schlecht is here to talk about the Thunder after their latest win and whether or not they're breaking the NBA. Good morning, everybody. What's up, S?
Good morning. Spoiler alert. Yes, they are breaking the NBA. Yes.
Okay. It's not so much they're breaking it as they've broken it because they're better than everyone and they own all of the draft picks.
Yes.
Spoiler for the end of the show.
Absolutely.
Hey, speaking of spoiler, how about these Pelicans, man?
Plain spoiling.
A little bit, right? Like we wrote them off. They make a coaching change, and all of a sudden, things are a little bit different. Zion's been back out there. They pick up another win, their fifth straight. They beat the Mavericks, who have been playing better basketball, by the way, with Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg out there. Zion, like I said, Zion's been coming off the bench for this team here lately. S, what have you noticed about the Pels in this turnaround? Like, I mean, it's more than just a vibe shift.
It's a shift of personality on there. I think the number one change is one, Derek Queen is the franchise. He is starting. He is our starting center for the rest of the year. And I think that was a decision James Borrego made very, very quickly. This is his team. We're rolling with it. We've drafted this guy. We're entrusting this guy. And the same thing applies to Jeremiah Fears, who is just downhill gravity. He's our starting point guard. Let's go with that. Now you have these two guys off of the bench who, if you think of them as bench players, you're like, oh, wow, this is a really talented team now. Jordan Poole, Zion Williamson, two guys who can light it up offensively. I think those two as bench guys, especially Zion, you think of Zion as a guy who 25 minutes a night gives him that range where he can stay healthy, hopefully play longer, hopefully play more games throughout a season. And what bench player can you think of that drops 24 points on 14 shots for you? There's not that many.
If you think about this, one of the secrets to success for a sixth man of the year candidate is scoring a lot of points.
Absolutely.
But you're playing against you're playing against a lot of second units, right? Like it's not like you're getting the other team's fastball. So even if this is just temporary, to get him healthy, to make sure that, you know what I mean, he's playing his best basketball, I don't think it's a bad idea. As long as, like when he has a great game like he did last night, you always have the option of him closing with Derek Queen. I mean, Queen's ability to pass and to shoot and stretch the floor opens up a lot. And the other thing is, I actually think James Borrego's done a really good job of getting Zion moving without the ball. Yeah. There were a couple times tonight where he kind of comes off the, like a double drag moving toward the basket. Anything where he's going downhill is unstoppable. Yeah.
Especially going left, right? Right. If that like double pin stuff that he has curling to the basket is off of his left hand, his downhill gravity is going to create shots for other guys. And that means open opportunities for Trey Murphy, who's a knockdown three-point shooter, for Saddiq Bey, who's having a really good season, by the way. Saddiq Bey kind of like an afterthought, but he was hurt last year, comes into the Pelicans this year and looks like the Saddiq Bey that we kind of know. Good scorer, a guy who can kind of light it up himself. This team just has a lot of offensive talent. They were probably not as bad as their start was. It was just about finding the right pieces and pushing the right buttons. And to your point, I think that's a credit to the coaching. Absolutely.
Okay. And it begs the question, what does this team look like right now if they had made the coaching change during the offseason, which is always something, I mean, in my time doing this job, I've always pushed toward, you make the coaching change early. You always want to be early. And even if you're not sure if you can replace them with someone better, I think for a team like this that was not really doing much last year, the time to have made the change would have been during the summer. James Borrego was already in-house. They already had the inkling to do it.
Yeah, they were already thinking of doing it in the first place.
All they did was set themselves back this season, and now they've got a hole to dig out of. And I'm wondering to myself, look, man, if this is, let's say this team that we've seen here the last 10, 15 games is more of what this team is. Do they have a shot at maybe making the play-in? I mean, they don't have an incentive to lose, S.
They do not have an incentive to lose. And I think that's been the big discussion with the Pelicans all year is what's hanging over their head, which is they can't freely tank. We will have a discussion with Andrew in a little bit about the potential top 5 or top 6 in this upcoming draft. that would have been a great talent to add to this current fun Pelicans group. They don't have that option right now. But I think ultimately maybe they can make the play-in.
They're only 5 games back.
They're only 5 games back, and there's still a lot of time. You know what? You're kind of selling me on it because the last play-in spot, Blazers are losing their game, starting to look a little bit slower, even though they've won 3 in a row and lost to the Pistons tonight. But I don't know. I think they can make a run. Sure, why not?
Let me ask you a question. In a world where everyone's scared to make moves because of the Thunder and because of Wemby,
do they buy?
Joe Dumars, he's shown he's a wild card.
That is true.
Right?
Yeah, that is
and
true.
He drafted, American Jokic in Derek Queen.
You know what the craziest part is?
What if they're going out looking for guys instead of selling guys off?
There's
a
going
lot
to be
of talent available.
I'll tell you what their midseason acquisition is going to be. DeJounte Murray. Because it feels like we all forgot that DeJounte Murray tore his Achilles last year.
Yeah, we did.
And he's coming back pretty soon, I want to say. I think January or February. Mm-hmm. Not bad to add an all-star level point guard to your team right now.
Yeah. I don't know. Look, the Pels, they're more fun than they were.
They're fun.
And that's all we can ask for. By the way,
a lot of that has to do with Queen.
Absolutely.
Changed
plus
everything.
65 during this winning streak, by the way, with Queen on the court. They've been 6th in offense, 6th in defense in their last 5 games. Small sample.
Yeah.
But it's fun. Again, turning the corner. Hopefully, again, fewer bad teams is a good thing for us because it means on nights like last night, S and I have one less bad team to watch when they load the schedule up. Thank you, Utah, for getting crushed by the Nuggets. Guys, stick around. After the break, we got Andrew Schlecht to talk about the Thunder. Hey, guys, 500 record in their last 4 games. Moving on up. The Thunder pick up a win over the scrappy, shorthanded Grizzlies to move to 500 in the last 4 games. Here joining us to talk about it, Andrew Schlecht, host of the Slam and Jam. Andrew, what's it like to see the Thunder win a game? It's been a minute.
I forgot what it was like. Watching this team tonight, I felt a little bit like it was 2022 again, watching Kenrich Williams out there at center and them just not having anybody out there. We had Brandon Carlson in the Mike Muscala role. It was a bit nostalgic for Thunder fans.
He was, to be honest, though, he was better than Mike Muscala.
Hey, we should put some respect on Mike Muscala.
Oh, come on, man.
Listen, he's getting his jersey retired, but Brandon Carlson was pretty good last night. It just seems like another one of these guys that the Thunder have lucked into.
Search up Mike Muscala rapping, by the way. Just want to throw that out there. It's good stuff.
Okay.
Quality stuff. Yeah.
Again, I made the joke that the Grizzlies were shorthanded, but the Thunder are also shorthanded. A bunch of guys out. No Chet, no Hartenstein, no Caruso. Again, they started Brandon Carlson, and yet they still find ways to win games. Obviously, this is a long season. They weren't going to win 80 games, but how much do you expect them to be managing these guys starting now? I mean, it does seem like tonight was the first night that they were looking ahead and saying, hey, we're going to rest these guys up. We got a back-to-back. We've got a Christmas Day game. And maybe this was a chance to sneak a night off.
Yeah, they're coming off another back-to-back that they had last week where they had this home road back-to-back. And some of it is like the travel from Vegas and back. And then you have this home road back-to-back. I just think that, iHeart wasn't right in that last game anyways. And so I think like getting him some extra rest, I think is important. Getting Chet rest before they play the Spurs, I think was important. But yeah, I think that they'll do that some, but I think it'll be circumstances like this where you essentially have like these back-to-backs that are piled on top of each other needlessly, by the way, where the league moved that Clippers game before they knew they were going to be in the final.
Yeah.
And if they were going to be in the final, it made sense because they would have had a back-to-back off of the Cup final, but they didn't make it. And so they moved it anyways, which really didn't help the Thunder at all. They would have had 4 days off anyways.
So the NBA is against the Thunder is what you're suggesting.
What? For all those that are crying all the time about the league and how they help the Thunder out with fouls and stuff, you know what? They're trying. They're trying their best to keep them down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of the guy they always talk about with the fouls, SGA, very casually scored 31 points tonight. 100 straight games of 20 plus points for him. The only guy left is Wilt Chamberlain in 26 games, which, by the way, I feel like he's going to get, guys. I feel like he's going to get to 26 games.
If he can get 100, what's 26?
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Your thoughts on his growth this season? Because it feels like somehow he's even better than what he was last year, where he, obviously MVP, champion, etc.
Yeah, he's a lot better. I mean, he's shooting the ball better from almost every spot on the floor. His mid range is like a layup right now. Like anytime that he's open, like if he's wide open, I will say layup. That ball's going in. And even if he is guarded, if he can get to his spots, it's pretty much over. And he had 31 points on 20 shots tonight. He had 10 boards, 8 assists. He did have 5 turnovers, which was a little bit unusual for him. That's pretty high for him. 4 steals and a block. He was tremendous. And he was doing stuff tonight that was just like, jaw-dropping stuff. He threw the ball. He was
laughing on the way to the bench. You see that?
He threw the ball off the backboard to himself, not for a lay-in or a dunk, but to throw it to Brandon Carlson.
He knew he had Brandon Carlson out there.
That's right.
Who was going to stick that shot.
And he did. He made it. He made the shot. If you haven't seen just the clip of him laughing that you mentioned, I mean, that's a good clip for what his season's been like. I mean, he is a much better player on both ends. He's a better passer. I think defensively he's been locked in, and the Thunder just win games whenever he is a participant. That's just kind of how it goes.
I'm glad you said that. Speaking of the 100 straight games, they're 84-16 in their last 100 regular season games.
It's absurd.
That's a hell of a stat. I got that from the broadcast, and I mean, it really does feel like that's about right. I mean, you think of the handful of times that they lost this season so far, right? The 3 games. They could easily have won any of those games, including, blowing the 20-point lead, blowing the lead to the Spurs. This team is going to be, I think, what we've seen out of them the last few seasons, right? Number 1 seed the year before, number 1 seed, win the title, running away with it this year, look like the title favorites. Got this lottery pick sitting in their pocket next year.
Top 3, probably.
What does the next 100 games look like for the Thunder? I mean, is this just running away with the regular season 2 more years?
Yeah, it's probably more of the same. I mean, and I think that we're also, not only do they have like this lottery pick coming, but there's more cohesion with the group in general that's happening. And then you have guys like J-Dub and Chet and Cason Wallace that are all very young players still that are emerging more and more. Cason's development has probably gone under the radar for a lot of people because he's like the 7th guy on the pecking order, but he's gotten a lot better for them. Dub he had a really good game tonight. This is like one of a handful of like good games that he's had since he's been back. I mean, he dunked it really hard in this one. He was 10 of 20 from the field, 24 points, 6 boards, 2 assists in this one. He looked more like himself. He was getting to that midi jumper that he's been able to get to since he's gotten to the league, and that looked really good. And he didn't look like his wrist was bothering him as badly tonight. And so, like, just looking for games like that for him moving forward, if you're going to sit anybody, I would have probably said maybe they would have sat him, just because that wrist has been bothering him. But he seemed great tonight, and so like that's a really good sign. His development is another huge thing too. Like, he's going to continue to get better, and so the internal development within the Thunder, all the assets that they have, the Clippers doing what they're doing this year, all of that is kind of helping the Thunder, continue to push this thing along.
With Cason, I do want to point out, I think we just think about him so much as a defender, defender first, and he's not a primary option on offense, but we don't think about him as a versatile defender. I mean, he's a point of attack guy for sure, but there were times in this game where Jaren Jackson got him in the post, and just the fact that he fought him off and just continues to compete even when he's got the mismatch. I mean, that's one of the things about Cason that stands out to me. I mean, he's a dog, and he's always trying to dunk on guys. That's the other thing.
He went to the Alex Caruso School of Basketball.
Yeah.
Like the last year, whatever it's been, he has learned directly from the master of guarding smaller or guarding bigger guys or guarding smaller guys, regardless of what it is. I think he's an all defense member at this point, truthfully. Just the way that he's guarding, it's kind of hard to pick one guy from this Thunder team. You could probably pick multiple. Chet obviously is part of that. Andrew, I have to ask you a question. So the West is pretty interesting this year. A lot of intriguing teams. We've talked on this podcast about how they lost to the Spurs. They haven't played the Nuggets yet. Very intrigued by when they played the Nuggets. They've played the Rockets. Who are you afraid of if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder?
I really think it's just the Nuggets at this point. I think the Spurs they're very good. I just think that they're probably too young. Like the guys that need to lead them to playoff victories are probably too young at this point and haven't had to go through it yet.
Yeah.
The Lakers defense is just not there. I know the Timberwolves beat the Thunder the other night. The Thunder handled them pretty easily this past year, and I do think like their depth is worse and the Thunder are just better this year. Houston is an interesting team. I still wonder what they look like on the offensive end in crunch time when you have like so many guys that you don't have to guard at the 3-point line. So I think like, and the list kind of ends there.
Okay, so your eyebrows are raised just a little bit for Houston, though.
They're good. It's a really good team.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like you look at their point differential. That's something that I really like to look at when it comes to like, are these guys title contenders? And it's the Thunder, it's the Nuggets, and then it's the Rockets. Like those are the teams that I think are the best teams in the West. And then the Spurs are just right on the outside of that. But I really think it's the Nuggets because when these games get tight, you turn to the best players in the world and they have one of those guys.
And they're deeper now too. And they have options. I mean, they've been trekking along even without Christian Brown and Aaron Gordon. We just talked about that the other day. Just the way
they're like finding guys.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. Talk to me about the Spurs a little bit. Obviously, they get the big win in the NBA Cup. We got 2 games coming up against them. Wemby is going to be out for game 1 on the 23rd, but he'll be there for that Christmas Day game. It's a lot of Spurs and Thunder, and to be frank, it's probably the future of at least the Western Conference is a lot of Spurs and Thunder. It feels like we're getting like the sneak preview of the Western Conference Finals the next maybe 5 years after this one. A lot of people comparing the Spurs to the Thunder, saying that they remind them of that team from 2 or 3 years ago. What do you think about the Spurs? Like, what's your assessment as a guy who's seen what happened, just recently in OKC?
A lot of it's about Victor Wembanyama. Like that's where it all starts. Like this guy is unbelievable. Something that we've never seen before. As a defender, offensively, he just commands your attention, and like everything begins there. But really, Castle's development has been ridiculous. I think the fact that they had the ability to draft Dylan Harper is tremendous for them. And then, having Fox and Vassell and Harrison Barnes and Champagnie to a degree as well. Like all these guys, and Keldon Johnson off the bench has been amazing. Like they just have a lot of guys, like similar to the Thunder, where you can play this like deep rotation of guys that you trust that can kind of play at all 3 levels and that can really attack the hoop. And the Thunder, it was funny when the Thunder were doing their draft process. They just start drafting these guys, and you start to think like, oh, they have too many guards. Like you kept saying it every year. They have too many guards. What do? They keep drafting guards. When you thought they had too many guards, well, they trade for Alex Caruso. Like, well, they already have 2 guys like him. So obviously they're going to trade Dort or they're going to trade Cason Wallace. Nope. What if we just had all of them? And I feel like the Spurs are kind of doing something similar. Yeah. Where and we did this on this show. It's like, well, it's probably trying to trade De'Aaron Fox. Like, what if we just had all of them?
Well, those 3 guys can play together.
Yeah,
that is huge. If they couldn't play together, it's a conversation that you have just because of the financial implications of that. But that would be years down the line. There's never been a basketball team that said, we don't have enough guys that know how to dribble and make decisions. Ever.
Yeah.
Even the Spurs, who famously tell people sometimes they're only allowed 2 dribbles. I don't know. Hey, look, there's a 2 seed right now, Andrew, and you just sang their praises. You're not worried about them leveling up this season and like maybe, something pops?
I'm not saying it's impossible. I just think that the guys that are leading this team haven't done it yet. And find me an example in NBA history that's happened before.
Yeah.
I just think it's really hard. The playoffs are just different. I mean, the Thunder, even that year that they lost to the Mavericks in round 2, it felt like the Thunder should have. It felt like the Thunder should have won that series against the Mavericks. You go back and you look at the rosters, you look at everything, and so everything lined up. A lot of people picked the Thunder, including myself, and the Thunder could not get over the hump. And it was not because of a lack of talent. It wasn't because they didn't have the right guys in place. It was just like simply they did not have the experience necessary to win those games. And I don't think Wemby will be the problem in those games, but we haven't really. I mean, De'Aaron Fox hasn't played very many playoff series. How many has he played? One?
A single playoff series. Yeah.
Like Steph Castle has not been in those tight spots yet. Dylan Harper's a rookie. It just takes time, and there's patience there. And we listened to De'Aaron Fox talk in Vegas about this. He said we need to go and play in the playoffs first, together before we're actually a contender. Those guys understand how this works, and so I do think we probably need to pump the brakes a little bit on like what they can be this year, but I don't know.
All those guys, I feel like they got a shot at actually being the 2 seed again. Like they've got the depth, they've got the talent, and again, this is why they do remind me a little bit of that Thunder team from a couple of years ago.
Look, they will take their bumps in the playoffs. If you even think about, the youngest team that I can remember that really made a deep run was the 2012 Oklahoma City Thunder, right? They made it to the NBA Finals, and even they had to take their bumps, right? They had to lose in the playoffs in 2011. They had to figure out how to win. I think most teams have to go through that. Now, honestly, we don't know if the Spurs will make a deep run this year. What I do know is that the Oklahoma City Thunder own the LA Clippers pick.
Yep.
And as you know, Ivica Zubac is going to miss several weeks, so they are without a starting center.
Brook Lopez wasn't even playing, and he's going to be their starter.
Yeah, absolutely. That is going to be bad news for the Clippers, but it is excellent news for the Thunder, who own that pick. Have you been like one eye on Tankathon to just see who you would draft, and have you been watching the draft process?
Both eyes, brother.
Both eyes. Okay. Do you have a favorite if they somehow land the number 1 pick? Because it seems like it's pretty.
I mean, it'd be great to get any.
We are going to get bombarded. It'd
be great to get any of these guys.
Listen,
Cameron Boozer. Cam Boozer would be really interesting with this squad.
Yeah, he would be.
He's uber productive. He would allow the Thunder to play a style that they really don't have available to them right now. Can I
just say it's insane that you can just pick best player available with the number 1 overall pick?
Well, you should be able to.
No, I know, but it's the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they have 3 losses this season. That's
okay.
Crazy.
I will say this: it is going to take a pretty unusual top 3, top 4 pick if that's what they end up getting. And who knows? Like maybe the Clippers win some games. Maybe this is like the 6th, 7th, 8th pick. I don't know.
Sure.
But if they do wind up in the top 3, the conversations that are going to exist with these players, and this isn't fantasy basketball. These are like real people that the expectation for these top 3 players is not only are they going to play, but they're out to earn their second contract.
That's right.
Like you sign your first contract whenever you're a top 3 pick, you're not thinking about that money. What you're thinking about is the money that you're going to get on your second deal. Yeah. Like, what do I need to do to get the money on that second deal?
That rookie max. Absolutely.
And how do the Thunder provide that opportunity? And I do think there's going to be like this push and pull that exists there, because you're going to need the right kind of personality, the right kind of kid to come in here that wants to learn, that wants to win, that wants to win at a high level, that can hop on the fastest moving train in the NBA right now. It's not just like simply like, hey, let's just plug this number 2 pick or number 1 pick or whatever it ends up being into this amazing team. And now you just have like this even better product here. It's not necessarily that. I think that it takes a pretty special individual to be able to join a team like that. And maybe they're just that good. But what really, I don't know that people are talking about this as much, is that this could help the Thunder's financials so much.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Potentially, like if they did get a guy like Cameron Boozer in, then like you don't have to necessarily keep these guys around that cost $30 million.
Right.
Yeah.
And it can float you into your next era without having to be in the second apron or even take a look at the second apron at all.
Yeah.
And so it really is going to like propel this team if they do get to that level. I mean, heck, even if they pick a guy at 6 and maybe he is that good too, you know,
Jaden Quaintance.
I was going to say it's a 6-player draft, right? So
Quaintance is unbelievable.
That he just screams Oklahoma City Thunder basketball.
He is.
So,
He would be. I mean, people should be terrified.
And just to be clear here, Nikola Topic is also really good too, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
So the Thunder have guys upon guys upon guys, and now guys on deck.
Yep.
AJ Mitchell also, as we've talked about a bunch on this podcast. Yeah.
Anyway, doesn't feel fair. All right. The Thunder are breaking the NBA. That's the headline for tonight. Thank you. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks to Andrew Schlecht for staying up late. Thanks to Es Baraheni. As always, I'm Dave DuFour. This has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for listening.